We are doing right now, getting everything all set up for Miss LaToya Cole. Are you out there, LaToya? You're on mute.
I'm
There you
sorry.
go. There you
Good
go.
morning. Yes, I'm here.
We don't want that to happen. I'm having a conversation and you're not saying anything. That goes inside with your book. So unmute yourself.
Right.
All right, let me do one other thing and we'll be all set, ready to go. And there we are, everybody. We are live on Twitch, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. We have LaToya Cole here.
Hi.
And I ran across her going through what was I going through? San Antonio Black Businesses. And I was scrolling down. It wasn't the purple that caught my attention. What caught my attention were you sitting there with books right there. And I started reading the caption unmuted. I said, what is that? So I started reading it a little bit more. And once I started reading it, I said, okay. I told everybody that day it was live on the radio. I said, oh, they said they can't hear you. Let me cut this up right here. All right, there we go. So I turned around and I reached out to you because I told everybody, I said, I'm gonna reach out to her. And you came back pretty quick. And I said, we talked on the phone. It seemed like an hour. She hung up on me and then she called me back, but she didn't hang up on me, y'all. But we called and we talked probably total almost a good 1 or 2 hours.
Yes, if not more.
Yeah, and that's when you know that the person is genuine to me because you didn't know me from a box of rocks, but yet you open up and you talk to me. Now,
Absolutely.
there's a young lady that's out there, and I'm not going to say her name now. I'll say to her in the show. She told me I have a knack for doing that.
Wow.
And I'm still trying to figure out what that knack is. Well,
Absolutely.
she said, you just have it. People feel comfortable talking to you. I said, oh, wow. I wish I knew that in high school. I had plenty of girlfriends then, but but it didn't happen like that. So, LaToya, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you are doing to open up the minds of all the women out there to come tell their story.
Well, good morning, Mr. Gordon. Thank you for having me. My name is LaToya Cole, and I am a part of the Unmuted Everywhere movement. Some new movement, I'm sorry, that was started by Pastor Tandra D. Williams of the Launch Church. I am not a member of the Launch, however, because this isn't the Launch Church ministry, it's bigger than that. This is actually a ministry of women, women everywhere, women from different backgrounds, different religions, different everything, women who may be saved, women who may not be saved, women who know the Lord, women who may not realize quite who the Lord is, but they acknowledge that it's something going on in a higher power. We've come together to tell our stories, to get unmuted, to stop holding on to those things that were tragic or those things we've dealt with, maybe from birth. That's held us back, those secrets that we've been so afraid to allow to be known. So we haven't grown and we can't walk in who we are because we won't acknowledge things that we've gone through and what God has done. And our core value is simply Revelation 12:11. They were won over by the blood and by their testimonies. And so we are trying to win souls for God with our testimonies. And I believe that's the most powerful thing someone can do is to be willing to tell and share what God has done for them. And so
Wow.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, we're happy that you are. So, tell us how did y'all start the process of all these ladies I know didn't fall out the sky all at once and came to you. It'd be nice if it happened like that. But
Right.
but but how about did you go about, I wouldn't say seeking these women out. Did they seek you out or how did that go?
For Pastor Tandra Williams, we had a meeting. Once everyone got together, we had a meeting, and she shared with us her vision, and she showed us what the Lord had showed her about all these women joining together, women that looked like everybody, so that there would be someone relatable to someone, and everyone coming together, and internationally freeing other women. And we just so happened to all link up. Um we all one at one point of time came across Pastor Tandra, and we were presented with the idea, and some of us immediately knew that this was what we needed to do. And so we all just kind of jumped in at the opportunity when hearing what was going on and wanted to be a part of it. And we submitted to that idea of definitely coming together, definitely in conferences and virtually and in person, and writing books and touring. We definitely submitted to that idea of wanting to do that, to tell our stories. So we didn't fall out of the sky, but we definitely all got on one accord, and we didn't know, some of us didn't know each other. It just so happened that we knew Pastor Tandra, or some would know of her. And when she started, when God got her to start putting this together, it just, I don't know, it just flowed naturally. All of us women just came together, and we're a powerful bunch. And now
So
we're sisters.
yeah, so going through that process right there, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of tears when you're telling the story, and I'm not in your shoes, but what I can say is this, that you think that you had it bad until you hear somebody else's story. Is that pretty close?
You hit the nail on the head, Mr. Gordon. That is exactly what happened. I mean, we share so many tears together. I mean, it was one of the most soul cleansing things when you think you're over something, right? Because you have a band-aid on it and it's not bleeding anymore, so you think it's healed. And so you go on, about your life until you remove the band-aid and you realize that it is still there and it still hurts. That is what happened when we women got together and started sharing our testimonies amongst each other. And you're absolutely right. That's what happened. So a lot of us were like, I went through this, I went through that. And then we're hearing our sisters and what they survived through. And it floored us because we all had that same compassion for each other. I can't believe that she's going through that. I thought I was dealing with something, but I can't believe she survived through that. And we all started loving on each other. We all started trying to heal each other, and help each other through the process. And that's what happened when writing this book. It was like counseling. It was like physical therapy. It was like, emotional therapy. God definitely took us through some things to get this book formulated.
Oh wow. So just thinking of that is it was a lot of hurt and pain, but after that band-aid is off for good, then comes the healing process. And
Absolutely.
and in your healing process, y'all leaned on each other for that. And I have not read the book yet, but I'm dying to read it. Uh, I'm just assuming, so don't get me wrong. I'm just assuming things right here. So when that healing process is going on, I do believe there's a joy that comes into that heart that you finally got that off your chest. It's not a burden on you anymore. Am I somewhere close to that?
Mr. Gordon, you are absolutely right. That was the most ratifying thing, to be free, to acknowledge that something was wrong or that this happened, but that you didn't have the burden of having to carry that anymore. That is so why this book is so powerful, because 20 women, we did the same thing, different stories, different timelines. Some of us are just going through um, whatever we spoke about. Some of us went through this in childhood. But whatever the case is, as soon as we got through that, the pain and the hurt of telling our stories, there was a beautiful rejoicing. I can remember still from the night of our book signing, we must have we must have cried for hours, seemed like hours, but it wasn't tears of sorrow. It was just a rejoice of we made it. We made it over. I felt like I can speak for my unmuted sisters when I say we were a lot like the women, sorry, the children of Israel. We wondered with those secrets and those burdens and those stories. We just wandered in the wilderness, seeking freedom, seeking freedom. And as soon as we opened our mouths and got unmuted, it's like God parted the Red Sea for us to make it over to the promised land. And that's the best way I can describe it.
So I'll just rewind a little bit. To hold that burden inside you for a long time. I hear people talking about the ladies blame themselves when it's not really their fault. And it's in their mindset that it's their fault for what went on. And I'm just thinking half the battle is letting them know it's not your fault.
Absolutely.
And
And I think we all blamed ourselves for all of our situations and circumstances. And it affected us. It affected our lives. It affected the type of people we were. It affected the type of mothers we were. It affected the type of, wives or girlfriends that we were. It affects everything. It was holding that in was like a cancer. It affected every healthy thing and then it contaminated it. And so when we opened our mouth, that was like the antibody that we needed. And it just feels amazing to not have that burden, to know that it's okay that I went through something. It was not my fault. And I have the power over the situation. And I take back that power by telling my story. And that's the most powerful thing that we can do as a human.
so, I think we talked that time when I said, is it 19 or 20?
It's 20. It's 20. Yes,
It's
sir.
20. Okay. I explained to you, well, what I said my deal with the book is you got 20 different stories in that book. And in that book, that is like a mini series. You want to
Mhm.
know what happens to the next one. You finish that one, then you want to read the next one, and then the next one, and then you feel yourself going back comparing the first two before you get on the fourth one, as if you could go to the next one. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yes, sir. Definitely. Definitely. I've started. And the good thing about it, so we heard of each other's stories, but we got glimpses and pieces. So
Mhm.
we didn't know what one another was writing. We didn't know the full stories. And so I've started reading the book and it floored me, and it brought me to a place of, pain and sorrow, weeping for the person hearing the story, but you don't stay there because you realize, that they are healed, by it. There's a scripture that says, by his stripes we are healed. And these women, us, myself, We are no longer in that place where we wrote that book. We started writing this book, I believe, around March. We are now in August. I can definitely tell you that no longer are none of us in the same mindset. We don't operate in the same spirit that we were operating in when we wrote this book. So that brings the joy when you read the story.
Yeah.
That brings about a peace when you read the story and you realize, you can see from beginning to end, you know, how this happened. And then you look at these women and you say, wow, none of these women look like what they've been. I could never imagine. And I stand next to my unmuted sisters and I'm like, I'm like, you guys are so beautiful. I can't believe you went through what you went through and you still have the hearts that you have. And so that is why I can maybe boohoo a little bit, but I can get through the story with a smile on my face because their hearts are beautiful. And it's like, wow, even after all of that, you still have the heart that you have.
Yeah. Wow. And without you knowing any of the sisters, I, I shouldn't ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Did you see changes in their demeanor, their attitude, the refocus on life after they open up?
Yes. So a lot of us, we had similar behaviors when it came to being muted. We didn't want to say too much. We were kind of timid about things, or we just didn't want, we wanted to be in the background. We didn't want to say too much. And now I see a total transformation in every woman. Every woman has this spirit about herself, this boldness, this pride that they should have had in themselves a long time ago. I believe what transformed is every woman started to love herself. And when you
Amen.
see someone love their self, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And I believe that's was the missing key. So doing that and reflecting and telling your story, it allowed you stop protecting the ones who hurt you because you didn't want people to feel a certain way or whatever, and you stopped carrying that burden. You started loving yourself. And these women did that. We did that. I did it.
Yeah. So after the story was out, they told all their stories. Was there any pushback from some of the ones that hurt them? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Denial and all that.
actually, we are all going to, I haven't personally met any resistance or pushback with my story, but I know most of the women have received backlash and pushback and discouragement and disgruntled people because of becoming unmuted. But that makes them even much more powerful because they're resilient. They're pushing through. They're keeping their heads high, whereas we were all in a place where, kind of, hold your head down, and because you have a heart and you care about people, you care what people think. You don't want to make people angry, but it wasn't from a place of bashing anyone. This book wasn't about bashing people, talking bad about people. This book was just acknowledgement, acknowledging that some bad things happened and that we forgave, and that it's okay for you to forgive yourself if you were the one who caused that hurt. But we're moving on and we no longer reside there. And so, everyone does not deal with that the same way. And so I've lifted my sisters up in prayer because a lot of them are still going through that. But it's okay because now they're handling it headstrong. They're still telling their stories. They're still preparing to go on tour. We're still preparing to write another book. So
Yeah.
it's not stopping. The momentum is going because we have another powerful group of sisters coming behind us with their volume. And so, it didn't stop anything. It just made us that much stronger.
Wow. So, old saying that I was always told, when somebody's upset about something being told, it's always the truth hurts.
Ooh, absolutely, absolutely. And, unfortunately, a lot of us come from a place of being raised with what goes on in this house, stays in this house. Don't talk to anybody about it. We're going to sweep it under the rug, act like it didn't happen, and then we're just going to move on with life. And that's why a lot of us don't have coping skills. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of us do not know how to communicate that something is wrong, and we don't know how to voice our opinions and have a difference of opinions and handle it and still walk away with the love, dignity, and respect for one another, because we were never trained to deal with our issues. We were trained to, put the baggage on our back and just and walk around and carry it and walk around and add more and bear it.
I was looking at something the other day, what's focusing right now. They said if you do something the first time around, it's a mistake, but you can't never take that back.
Mm.
But you should always learn from your mistakes. And I sort of dissected that a little bit. And I said, it's okay to learn from your mistakes. But what about the ones out there that never admit they had a mistake and they keep on going on and never learning? See, that quote is fine, but there's people out there that they say they never do wrong. And so I'm sort of with the book saying the ladies who talk about things that happen, it's that one or two person out there that felt I didn't do anything wrong. And they will always think they never did anything wrong, no matter what.
And see, with writing this book, we had to deal with that and address that and realize that if the other person does not get it, it's okay. Allow them to reside there. You move forward because you no longer reside there. You can't force something on someone, and you can't force people to receive things. And if they want to be closed minded and keep themselves muted and keep themselves chained and bound by their untruths, then you have to allow them to be just who they are. It's our jobs to forgive them and move on. And so I give myself permission to forgive those who hurt me. My unmuted sisters have given themselves permission to forgive those who hurt them and to be happy and to have joy, because we felt like we couldn't be happy because this person doesn't even acknowledge they did this to us. So how can we walk with our heads high? But
Yeah.
God says that you absolutely can, because your walk has nothing to do with the person that transgressed against you. And so I think that was the best lesson that we took away from this, that it their issues, whoever hurt us, had nothing to do with us, because we blamed ourselves. We thought it must be me. I must lack. I'm not good enough. I wasn't the perfect daughter that I should have been, or I wasn't the perfect niece, or maybe I did something inappropriate that my uncle felt like he had the right to touch me and I wasn't touched. But I'm just saying, I think this is someone's story that they were violated. So these are things that kind of arrest our minds. But God says no. We learned through this and through being unmuted that it wasn't our fault. And it's okay to forgive and move forward. We don't have to stay those little girls. We don't have to stay those hurt women. We don't have to stay battered. It's okay to be free. And we accept that. We accept
Amen.
that.
Now, my next question, very important question. how can people get a hold of the book?
The book is available online. I can share the link. Oh my goodness, I normally know the link by heart, and but I can definitely share the link with you. Give me 1 second, I get that for you.
Okay. And your
Um,
camera is slipping down.
I'm sorry, can you see me?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I can get the link for you, but the book is certainly available online at https colon forward slash forward slash bit dot ly forward slash unmuted TB. That is the link. You can purchase the book. And then there's also a cute shirt for us ladies who like to have t-shirts to celebrate every moment and every milestone. We have a beautiful shirt that says, "I will not be silent," because this isn't about select group of people. This is for every woman. We want every woman to be unmuted. And she doesn't have to write a book, but we want her to be inspired to go and start telling her testimony to her girlfriends, her coworker, the person that needs to hear that, to help get them free from their own bondage.
Yeah. All right. And I also will share the link on my Facebook page. It's on there already, but I'll make sure I'll share that link and link and let it keep on going around. Now, you were almost, and somebody gonna laugh when I say this, you were almost on my not for Christmas list.
Oh,
You
wow.
know that, don't you? And you know
Oh,
why,
wow.
right?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
You didn't share all the links I needed from you so I could talk about the other things you do.
Oh, oh, you know what? Honestly, I sent out, and I don't know what happened. And so I sent out an email. It didn't go through. So then I
Okay.
resent it, and I actually thought it went through. So my apologies, because I mean things have been so crazy. My apologies. I meant to reach out to you to see if you received that email for like the third time.
So when I was out at Third Wings yesterday giving away some concert tickets, and when I got home, um, I think about when I got home, I messed around all of a sudden. I said, let me check my emails about 10:30 last night. I said, oh, so now she sends it. Less
Oh
than
my
24
goodness.
hours, less than 24 hours before we get on the show right here. And yeah, girl, I was giving you a hard time left and right.
And I don't know. I'm like, of all things, I'm like, goodness, I was having so many issues. I was having I had my phone reset. I was having internet issues with Spectrum. I was like, so I didn't have Wi-Fi, and I had
Right.
been quarantined. So unfortunately
So,
I
so
was
yeah,
able.
let's talk about Wi-Fi since you brought that up. Before we go to the next deal, people will go ballistic if their Wi-Fi is out. When Facebook was down at one time, people just like lost it. I
Absolutely.
don't have it. What I'm going to do? I said, do what we did. Sit down and read a book or go outside and play.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and I have a grandson, and he always says, "Grandma, I'm bored." When his tablet dies, or if there's no Wi-Fi, well, what am I supposed to do now? You're supposed to live life.
Yep. Well, I always told my kids read a book.
Absolutely.
I said, go get a
You
book
know
and
what?
read it.
It's nothing wrong with reading a book.
No.
That's the most powerful thing we can do as people is read.
Yes. Yes. Because right now we rely on lip service. That's wrong.
Mm,
And we don't even go. I mean, my mom's ever told me, research everything, get the facts.
absolutely.
Now we're in this world right now. We depend on one person to give us facts, and we believe it, and they're wrong.
And then we testify to it because we heard it,
Yeah,
and then we're spreading the wrong
you
message
say
because we didn't get
exactly.
fact checked.
Yeah, yeah. Need to fact check the fact checkers as it goes along.
Exactly.
Okay, so now you have spoken to me about kid chefs. You
Yes.
spoke to me about that. I did research on that. See, I did research, I studied. And This has been around a long time. It is going on 7 years.
Yes, this year was the seventh year
Oh,
junior chef competition. Yes,
and
sir.
I would. This is the first time I heard about it. So
Wow.
that's one thing we got to get out for that. So, tell us about the junior chef and what are they doing for Thanksgiving?
So I am an executive board member for an executive chef for World Lowly Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization. We believe that we can reach children through cooking, through recipes. We can reach at-risk children and show them that there are other things, other ways. You don't have to rob someone to make good money. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to go to prison and risk your life to make a difference and make a means and survive. These are skills that you take with you, because the things you do in the kitchen, it resonates in your life. You learn things that you don't realize are life skills. And also, it's an amazing career. To be a chef, to be able to be a chef is one of the most fulfilling things I think I've done. And so to work with children who possess the skill and knowledge and understanding and want the skill set of cooking, that's amazing. And so when I heard what Chef Miles Williams was doing with the children of San Antonio, I was like, I need to be on board. Absolutely. I subscribe to it because it's a ministry within itself. And I jumped on board, and I was fortunate enough to come in right before last year's junior chef competition. And I saw these children get in this kitchen. It's always a team of two children. I'm sorry, two teams made up of children, of about 4 to 5 children. And they have one adult coach, and these kids do all the cooking. They chop, they dice, but it's more than that. These kids, they have to take instruction, they have to listen, they have to respect the authority in order to be led. And a lot, these are at-risk kids. These are kids who may did not have that at home. Their mothers may have been absent, or they may have not known who their fathers were, so they have a problem with authority, or they lack resources that we have and we take for granted. So they're angry and they're acting out and they're rebelling. And we are changing children's lives. One of our junior chefs' name is Chef Victoria. Her chef name is Chef Vicky V. She went from acting out, and her mom says she was always getting in trouble in school, not listening, getting in trouble at home. And so her attitude was so bad, and she didn't respect authority. But in that kitchen, when Chef Miles says something, it's yes, chef, no, chef, heard, chef. She submits to the authority and she listens so that she can be successful. And now at 11 years old, she has her own business. She is actually a chef at 11 years old. And so
Wow.
that is what it's about. We are changed. That's why I say we are changing lives. It's more than just cooking a burger, or learning to bake a cake. We are taking people and we are transforming them and allowing them to be successful. And so we do this every year. We have the junior chef competition. And this year was fortunate to be a coach. My team, I named them Nova, and we walked away with the championship. And again, it came from because I didn't touch an ingredient. I didn't cook. I didn't season. I didn't taste anything. So that's why I'm so excited, because these children, they listen. When I said, do this, stop there, add more of this, what do you think? Use your guidance and your own understanding. It built a confidence in them. So
Yeah.
to see them cook with so much authority and passion, and then their parents joined them for the entree round. And they were showing their parents, Mom, you have to do this. And Mom, let's do it like this. And these are made, I don't know if they've ever had that type of experience with their parents, but I believe this was their first time being able to, be able to cook and do those types of things with their parents. It was just amazing. And so, yeah, that this is my other baby. And so we do other things. We give back shoes for school. We do a citywide Thanksgiving dinner every year. When COVID came, we shut down service, but we still delivered. We got in there, chef inspired meals. We get in the kitchen, we cook, and then we delivered to families. So this year we're opening back up 250 seats to feed 250 individuals. Free. Everything is free. Everything we do is always free. And then in December, we do the same thing for Christmas. We get children at risk youth who may have never ever known what it was like to own something and have something under the Christmas tree. And we allow them to put in their basket what their hearts desire. And all this was all established by Chef Miles Williams, and he has a whole team now, and we all believe in his vision and his mission.
So how do one go about to have Thanksgiving dinner? They have to register, sign up?
Yes, we have a registration. We actually just completed our flyer, and it is available on Facebook. We have a page, World Lowly Incorporated. The information is there and it's on the flyer. And you can contact Charles Satterwhite with San Antonio Rising, which is another nonprofit that we partner with. He is the one who is in charge of registration every year. And you just call, you give your name and how many guests will be with you so that we can reserve your seats.
Okay. Now, the kids, how do y'all go about finding kids that wants to cook? Is there a process?
Yes. So most of the times, these mothers, these fathers, grandparents, guardians, they reach out to Chef Milas and say, Hey, Chef, I have a child who's interested in cooking, who wants to learn to cook, or, who needs something, a distraction because they're maybe turning to gangs or trying to turn to things that's not good for them. And Chef Miles gets these children and he trains them individually. They work with Chef Miles for about 6 months. And then he turns them over to an executive chef who will be the coach for that year's competition. And they turn them over to us, and then they train with us for about another 6 months. So it's a year long process that you see these children. Some of these children come in with the passion to cook, but have never cooked anything.
Mhm.
And Chef Miles, he opens up his doors where he works because he is an executive chef. So he allows the kids to come in. They come to his job and they train with him. And he's a very no nonsense guy, and they learn to respect everybody. They respect themselves. They respect authority. They respect elders. They learn to say yes, sir, no, sir, things that they may have not operated in before. And they thrive. They run at the chance to train with Chef Miles. And
Wow.
he's not no walk in the park.
Yeah. So, wow. So, see, not only this, you do all the other things, and also you need to share with us that you um preach sometimes.
Yes, I am an ordained and licensed minister of the gospel. I was called to preach in May of 2012, and I was licensed in June of 2012. And then I received my first ordination in 2014. And then I was just recently reordained a few months ago. I joined my father's church, Rock of Faith. We're in Converse, Texas, and so in joining his church, I joined his covering, and so he saw fit to reordain me. So I was fortunate to be ordained twice. I love ministering to God's people. It's not easy, but it's fair, and
Yeah.
I have a love for people, and if I can help win souls for God, because I know that God is so real, then man, whatever I endured, it's been worth it, because I definitely know my testimony definitely may have not been for me, but it was for me to go through to help somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we talked and I was bringing some things up and you said, that's what I preached about last Sunday. We just have a normal conversation. I was giving you my thoughts. And once you told me that, it seemed like things I was bringing up that you talked about already.
Wow.
So that by itself was powerful, sitting down here just talking to you for the first time. So
Thank you. And I'm told by a lot. I have a good friend that tells me that I don't give myself enough credit or accolades. And it's just that I just operate in what I'm supposed to operate in. I don't look at any of it. I just do. I respond. It's like a call and response. I
yeah,
just do what needs to be done, and I don't necessarily even realize what I've done or how others see it, and that it's great or wonderful or whatever. I just
yeah,
do what because it needs to be done, and I see it needs to be addressed. If God tells me to do it, I do
yep. Amen. That's all you can do. So, all right.
it.
Any closing thoughts?
Yes, I just would like to say thank you. Thank you for thank you for seeing my post and sharing that. Thank you for being a messenger and getting the information to someone who may have needed to hear it. And I appreciate you for this platform.
You're
And
welcome.
I appreciate you for just being the person that you are. You have such a great spirit. And that person that told you that you have that knack, you absolutely do. So God is truly using you. And I look forward to blessing you one day. I actually have a small at-home business. So we bake and stuff. And I know that, you have a special diet. So I'm definitely going to figure out something and get it over there to you so you can try
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is LaToya Cole on WSAN Radio. It's 42 minutes after the hour. We appreciate you being on board, and this will not be the last time we talk to you, because I want to, the closer it gets to Thanksgiving, I want to have you on the show a couple more times so we could talk about the junior chefs. And
Amen.
when y'all need a taste tester, feel free to give me a call.
I will sign you right up.
Because I think we talked one time, and I think I told you I don't measure anything.
Absolutely.
I was brought up with my grandmother, pinch here and pinch there, and I do that to this day. I don't know why. I
Yes,
don't measure nothing. I taste
I
it, say these
definitely
little
do
bit of
the
this.
same.
Yeah. So I'm old
It's,
school all the way.
it's called cooking with the ancestors. You measure until the ancestors say, that's enough, my child.
Yes, ma'am. All right, LaToya, appreciate having on board. Thank you for taking time out and talking to us.
Thank you. You have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, goodbye.